Since the beginning of the automobile, professional motorsports have operated on high-octane petroleum-formulated gasoline. Swift Enterprises Chemical Engineering Department, located in a small laboratory on the campus of Purdue University, is now developing an eco-efficient, non-petroleum racing fuel. Company founders John and Mary Rusek began developing bio-sourced fuels for the aviation industry.
The specification for aviation fuel is probably the most stringent of any fuel in any industry. We knew that aviation and auto racing were the two fuels that were needing the most performance and also efficiency. And we knew we could meet that specification and all the parameters therein, so we started engineering our fuel for those parameters.
What makes Swift Fuel different from the other biofuel contenders is fundamentally that ethanol and oxygenates are banned from use in aircraft because of the problem with corrosivity and the problem with abstraction of water. Swift comes up with a pure hydrocarbon fuel based on two components that meets or exceeds current 100 low lead fuel, yet is bio-sourced.
Swift Fuel doesn't have alcohols or oxygenates, so you don't have any of the water issues that you have with alcohols. It's not as aggressive to the seals and engine components. The composition is simply the same thing you would find in auto fuels, hydrocarbons. That's the building blocks of gasoline. We just create them synthetically from a bioprocess.
Since we have no lead in our fuel, that's already a plus for us. We have a lower emission, obviously, of lead because there's none. The difference between what we're doing here and other bioplants is that we are taking what comes out of a bioplant, putting it through a reaction, a process that's normally used in chemical engineering, and we are creating a fuel that has a greater energy density.
The reason Swift went into the motorsports arena is because we have total control of the two components in our fuels, on the octane number and the vapor pressure. Those two things are of critical import. We have control of octane number anywhere from 90 to approximately 125 or 6. The more lead you add to a fuel traditionally, the more these two numbers become the same, which is why racers run into a so-called pinch point where you're going to max out at 118 basically. We went back to this formulation concept and we said, wait a minute, if we can make something for an aggressive high-bore engine that aviation uses right now, we can use this also for motorsports. We can get an octane range that's necessary for the racers, and number two, we can come up with a vapor pressure that's necessary. Our particular formulations form a graphitic carbon, and that's a high-temperature lubricant. Our valve surfaces, specifically our intake valve surfaces, have a thin coating of this on here. It's just a natural part of combustion. Therefore, we have taken care of, in our estimation and in the FAA's estimation, have ended up with something that actually has superior high-temperature lubricity.
Swift Enterprises CEO David Permy oversees the practical application and field testing of each Swift fuel formulation.
We're running a car on it. The fuel is slightly different from the 110 octane that they burn now. It's a little heavier. So he's doing some engine changes and we're going to get that squared away. And these are minor, fairly minor changes, some jetting changes. And we're going to start slow and then include all the cars as we go along.
And what's the ultimate benefit for the racers?
At the end of the day, you want to be able to use the fuel to its ultimate failure point. Just like for a racer, you want to be able to use your engine to its ultimate failure point. You want to stress it to that point. What we're asking, especially when we work with the Great American Stock Car Series, is we want to be able to get that data back and forth so we can start making engines at a higher efficiency. Higher efficiency means higher output. And we want to work synergistically. That's the lead-in and the tie-in with the Great American Stock Car Series.
Swift Enterprises, bio-sourced fuels for high-performance applications.